Bonjour Tristesse, directed by Durga Chu Bose. We've got a few different characters here. We've got Cecile. Your main character is Cecile. She's a teenage girl, played by Lily McInerney. You've got Elsa, played by Nalia Har. You've got Raymond, who's the father in the situation, played by Claes Bang. And you've got Anne, played by Chloë Sevigny. Now, Elsa and Raymond are a couple. He's a widower and she is his longtime girlfriend. You feel like they've been together long enough that they might be on the verge of being engaged, but they don't seem like they are. And they're on a vacation with Cecile, and Cecile is his actual daughter. So it almost feels like a stepmother, father, daughter situation, even though they're not married, the older two. And they're all beautiful, and they're all in this sun-soaked Mediterranean resort. I think it might be in the Riviera, wherever it is. You have to be highly privileged to be in a place like this. And they, I think, are there for the whole summer. I don't know if they're supposed to be owning it or if they're just renting it. Either way, they must have a ton of money. And I think the Elsa's supposed to be a model, but she's older. She's like 30s, early 40s, as opposed to Cecile, who seems like she's, I don't know, 17, 16, 17. And Cecile is off during the daytimes, laying around on the beach with a boy she met nearby, which is like a friend, and they're having a summer romance. And the first third of this movie is just a lot of laying about in the sun and talking about the past, and drinking drinks and eating food. And that you can get the picture. A lot of that kind of stuff. Maybe a half hour into this movie, 20 minutes into the movie, Anne, like I said, played by Chloë Sevigny, re-enters the father's life. She is a longtime friend, and she was basically friends of he and his dead wife. So she has known him and been really close to him forever. So when she comes back in, it's almost like having an aunt come back in. She knew about his romance, she knew about his wife and all that kind of stuff. So she feels a little bit like an invader when she shows up to the summer retreat. And the minute she gets there, she is definitely a different vibe. Elsa is very like permissive and just doesn't seem to care what Cecile is doing. Cecile is just having a teenage summer. But when Anne, Chloe Sevigny, gets there, immediately she's talking to Cecile about things like, did you pass your classes? Do you have to take tests when you get back? Are you studying during the summer to get back to school? She's acting much more like a mom, much more of a organizing influence and a stern influence. And then she also seems to have a similar kind of approach to Cecile's father, Raymond. She seems to have a judging eye of his relationship with Elsa and seems to look at it like it's frivolous. And you just get a feeling she has a stake in it all the way along. Like she doesn't seem very approving of it. And you can tell that she's a fashion designer, by the way. And I think his ex or his dead wife, I forget what she was. She was either another model or she was also in the fashion industry. It's all very upper crust French, French type stuff. So, what is the point of this movie? Let's get to that. Or where is this movie going? Was there drama? I guess the drama is that Anne is the I don't want to say this because I want to make it nice and she's the fly in the ointment. She is the interloper. She is the thing that's messing up this idyllic, lazy, hazy, sun bleached summer. She's coming in and just giving us this dose of reality. But the weird thing about it is, you might say that, but her what she ends up doing to the relationships here is very unrealistic and very unplanned out and very unreasonable. So I don't want to say what that is because I think it's a bit of a reveal. So it's a dichotomy as far as how her character works. Like I said, you think she's this voice of reason and reality kind of bursting in on their summer, but then the thing that she ends up causing to happen seems like a pretty unreal, unreasonable thing for a person to do. I know I'm being vague, but for people who want to discover it, that's there to discover. Now, I'm making it sound like there's a lot of interesting drama and characters here, which absolutely there is not. If that's your vibe and you can vibe with that, and you want to vibe with that with some extremely, extremely privileged people, then knock yourself out. You're going to love this movie. But if that sounds very annoying, then you're going to probably start getting annoyed pretty quickly. I was pretty annoyed. Now, what makes it even more annoying is the writing. See, I think this looks beautiful. Let's say the first things. So this director is definitely, and their DP is bringing a beautiful looking movie. It's impeccably compositioned. You can just tell they planned everything. Everything in the scene is placed where it needs to be placed. The camera's placed where it needs to be placed. The cinematography is beautiful. So it just looks, it's not quite as staged as, say, a Wes Anderson. That's highly dollhousey, but still, it's very impeccably placed. So you can tell nothing's haphazard. This is not someone who's just shooting as they go and just figuring it out and just letting it be. This is a person that's very much getting everything where they want it to be and placing the actors and blocking everything perfectly. So as far as all that goes, it's great. The actors are all beautiful. Everyone's impossibly beautiful. Great. If you love, and it's a beautiful setting. So if all of that is working for you, great. But what about the story? First of all, the characters are all insufferable. They all deserve their uninteresting lives and their uninteresting fates. And I don't have much care about their dramas because their dramas are, once again, insufferable. But it's the way they talk in this movie. It's very overwritten. And I know it's based on a really, I think it's a beloved book, or maybe it's a novel or a novella. So maybe a lot of the lines and the dialogue in here are based on that, where that can work in a book where it's either internal dialogue or the heightened language is poetic, but it's really hard to pull off in something you're supposed to be presenting to us as realistic. And I think I wrote something down. I think at one point Anne and Raymond are talking together, and Anne says to him, she's not going to stay close just because you give her so much room. So, whoa. And then be wrong sometimes. It's less lonely. And it's what? People don't talk like that. And also it's dialogue that seems to be in love with itself. It's like, boy, did you hear what I just said? You want to stop for a second? I'll say it again. They don't do that, but as I'll say it again so you can get that down on paper, because this is like going to be some pretty awesome wisdom you're getting. And those kind of groaners every time they speak is just, it's crazy. And Cecile does it a bunch, and she's a 17-year-old kid. And I mean, I don't think it's very believable for anybody to do that unless they're really like I don't know, a professor or something. But for her to do it is really unrealistic. And I think the original story, once again, I didn't read it, so I could be just talking out of my butt here. I think the original story might have had a lot of internal dialogue, and maybe this is a way of them trying to make that happen. Whatever the case is, it's a lot to get through this movie for me. I think this movie is an hour and 40, an hour and 45 minutes. It should be an hour at the most. It felt like 3 hours. It's just insufferable. I know someone else is going to say, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. And I just floated with it. But for me, I was sinking really quickly. I was going to give it 1 star. I think I'll give it 2 stars only because everyone did a good job at what they were supposed to do. It looked great. No one did a bad job acting. It was well produced. And for what it's trying to do, it's probably a good version of that.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. For more movie and television reviews and interviews, please subscribe to my Deepest Dream channel. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And as always, thanks so much for your support. Take care.